Have you ever wondered why Claude, the main protagonist of GTA 3, never speaks a single word? All he does is kill and show zero emotion. Was he actually just a really dumb guy, or does he just not like to talk? Over the years, fans kept wondering if this was some genius Rockstar decision to make players feel like they were Claude, or if it was simply because GTA 3 was one of the first massive 3D open world games, and the devs were already struggling with technical limitations. Well, after more than 20 years, one former Rockstar developer finally explained it. Rockstar North's former technical director, Obi Vermeij, was asked why Claude never talked, and his answer was surprisingly simple. At least part of it was that we had to cut corners. The audio department was busy as it was. So, one of the biggest GTA mysteries turned out to be less mysterious than people thought. Rockstar themselves later also explained. So we decided that the game's protagonist would not talk, partly to aid people identifying with him, but mostly because we had so many other problems to solve, and this didn't seem like a major issue. Originally, Claude wasn't even really supposed to be Claude. He didn't have a proper age, backstory, or even much of an identity. He was only meant to be a blank character, where you were supposed to fill in the personality. Before we move on, take a moment and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty of videos incoming that I'm sure you don't want to miss. Moving on. But there is one thing that's really interesting to note here. The main protagonist we call Claude. How do we even know his name is Claude, when his name isn't mentioned a single time during the entire game? Back when GTA 3 was released, players had no official in-game name for him. Nobody in cutscenes ever calls him Claude, and even menus referred to him just as player. This made people think that Rockstar wanted him to be a complete self-insert character. But then, players digging through the game files started finding the name Claude, and people also noticed similarities with Claude's speed from GTA 2. Rockstar never gave a direct answer for years until GTA San Andreas finally dropped one small clue. During Catalina's phone call, she suddenly screams, "Oh Claude!" in the background, officially confirming what fans had been calling him all along. So for years, players discovered Claude's identity before Rockstar ever properly did. Before becoming the cold and silent guy we know from GTA 3, Claude crossed paths with CJ himself in San Andreas. After losing a race, Claude ends up giving CJ his garage in San Fierro, which leads to one of the funniest lines in the game later on, when Carl completely loses it.
Motherfucker! That mute asshole, that fucking snake without a tongue, gave me this shithole instead of a pink slip. I must be the biggest fucking idiot in the whole fucking world.
Back in 1992, Claude was already involved in illegal street racing and owned a garage in Doherty. Around that time, he also got together with Catalina after she split from CJ. After losing the race, the two leave San Andreas together and begin a criminal road trip across America. For almost 9 years, Claude and Catalina traveled through different states, committing robberies before finally reaching Liberty City in 2001, which is exactly where GTA 3 begins. Remember the good old days when Driver and GTA were arch rivals? This was such an iconic rivalry, and both sides kept throwing hilarious shots at each other. Rockstar especially did not miss a single chance to troll Driver. In GTA 3, they literally added John Tanner from Driver into a mission called Two-Faced Tanner. Asuka gives Claude a note saying, "Our source in the police has informed us that one of our drivers is a strangely animated undercover cop. He's more or less useless out of his car." Rockstar was directly roasting Driver. Back then, Tanner's walking animation got badly criticized for looking awkward, so Rockstar made him run with a goofy animation. And it gets worse. In Driver, Tanner could barely do anything outside his car, so in GTA 3 they made him completely helpless once he stepped out. Rockstar only added him just to roast him for an entire mission. Classic Rockstar move. This might not be a detail that you're ever going to notice while driving around Liberty City, unless you're the type of player like me who randomly stops at traffic just to stare at license plates for no reason. But it's a pretty weird little detail. every single car in GTA 3 shares the exact same license plate, LC-R29. Liberty City has thousands of cars driving around 24/7, yet somehow every single citizen apparently ended up getting the exact same plate number. I just can't imagine police having to track down somebody because everybody in the city has the same license plate. It's a nightmare. It was most likely just a shortcut during development, since GTA 3 was Rockstar's first huge jump into a fully 3D open world, but once you notice it, you can never unsee it again. Rockstar cutting content during development is nothing unusual, but some of the content cut from GTA 3 is pretty interesting. Digging through the game files revealed a scrapped vehicle called the Buggy that was originally planned to appear in the game. The weird part is that it was never properly finished. Its model is incomplete and even missing textures, almost like Rockstar abandoned it halfway through development and just forgot about it. They clearly didn't throw the idea away completely, because not long after, a very similar design showed up in Vice City, and GTA 3 as the injection. Liberty City's entire layout looked different early in development. Some early map concepts show a completely different kind of map. Even landmarks were shuffled around. In addition to the city itself and some vehicles here and there, GTA 3 also had to leave a few characters that it had envisioned behind. One of these was Darkle. Another file reference simply calls someone the Butler, and players believe he may have been Salvatore Leone's butler. Back in GTA 3, Rockstar was dropping hints about the future right in front of players, and most people probably drove past them without even realizing it. Around Liberty City, you can spot billboards saying "Visit Miami" and "See you in Miami." It looks like normal in-game advertisements, but when Vice City launched, people realized what this Easter egg was. During the mission Mark's Man, Claude helps Ray escape Liberty City, and before leaving, Ray says he's heading to Miami to disappear for good. Early plans reportedly had Rockstar considering a modern Miami setting, but then things changed. They didn't make a direct sequel. Rockstar switched directions and created Vice City. They turned it into a colourful 1980s parody with neon lights, crime and Scarface vibes. GTA 3 has a lot of amazing Easter eggs to some classic movies and other media. There are fake movie actors like Chuck Schwartz, who's a rock star, mixing Chuck Norris and Arnold Schwarzenegger into one person. Then there's Arnold Stallone, a combination of Arnie and Sylvester Stallone. You can also spot a movie poster called Bad Fellas, which obviously is a parody of Goodfellas, made even funnier because Frank Vincent, the voice actor for Salvatore Leone, starred in the real movie. Rockstar even shamelessly advertised itself inside the game. On Kenji's casino rooftop, there's a hidden helicopter carrying a giant Rockstar Games logo. And on Staunton Island, a store literally displays messages saying GTA 3 out now and www.rockstargames.com. Rockstar was promoting GTA inside GTA itself. If you pay attention to Avery Carrington in Vice City and Donald Love in GTA 3, you'll realize that these two practically think with the same brain. During 2-Bit Hit, Avery tells Tommy,
"Now nothing brings down real estate prices quicker than a good old-fashioned gang war. Except maybe a disaster like a biblical plague or something, but that may be going too far in this case."
Then later in GTA 3, Donald Love says almost the exact same thing.
"Nothing drives down real estate prices like a good old-fashioned gang war, apart from an outbreak of plague, but that might be going too far in this case."
Considering Donald actually worked for Avery in Vice City, it feels like he literally stole Avery's business strategy and made it his entire personality. While Tommy may have become the kingpin of Vice City, he's still nowhere near the level of real-life drug empires, and Rockstar actually acknowledges the peak and fame of one of the most famous names in history. One small detail players didn't even notice without thinking about it was Escobar International Airport. That name is in no way a random one. It was a nod to Pablo Escobar, the man many people called the real-life version of Tony Montana. At the peak of his empire, he was reportedly smuggling around 15 tons of cocaine into the United States every single day. That number sounds so ridiculous it almost feels made up. Rockstar loved adding these real-world references into Vice City, especially because the entire game was built around the flashy, chaotic drug culture of the 1980s. You probably remember hearing random politicians yelling nonsense on Vice City's radio stations and not paying much attention to it. Remember Alex Shrub, the politician from Vice City? His name itself is a joke. Shrub is just a play on Bush because both are woody plants. The character parodies the Bush family, especially considering Jeb Bush was the real governor of Florida when Vice City was being developed. Even funnier, Shrub was a nickname used by journalist Molly Ivins to mock George W. Bush years before. At the time of Vice City's development and release, 2002, Jeb Bush was serving as the actual governor of Florida. Scarface's DNA runs deep through the veins of Vice City. Rockstar built parts of Vice City inspired by it. Both stories follow almost the same rise to power kind of formula. A regular guy arrives in a new city with nothing and slowly builds a criminal empire from the ground up. Tommy starts as a small-time gangster and eventually becomes the king of Vice City, while Tony Montana follows a very similar path in Miami. Even the small details are very intriguing. Tommy staying at the Ocean View Hotel mirrors Tony's early days living in Miami, and an oceanic car, which also resembles Tony Montana's car from the movie, conveniently spawns outside. Even places like Little Havana and Shea Rabina's Little Havana Cafe feel like Rockstar recreating pieces of Scarface inside the game world. Ricardo Diaz himself also feels like a character from Scarface, or at least inspired by it. A lot of fans believe Diaz borrows traits from Hector because both are drug dealers who end up betraying the main character during a deal. Others think he resembles Frank Lopez, since they both share that same powerful, paranoid kingpin energy, and even have a somewhat similar appearance. There's another interesting detail too. Scarface repeatedly mentions a Colombian cartel run by the Diaz brothers. Even though they never really appear in the movie, that could have easily inspired Rockstar when creating Ricardo. Even his outfit feels suspiciously familiar. That iconic red Hawaiian shirt and beige pants are very similar to the clothes worn by Tony Montana himself. The game almost feels like a playable version of the movie at times, and the references are everywhere once you start noticing them. Apartment 3C has blood splattered across the bathroom, which is a callback to Angel Fernandez's brutal chainsaw scene in the movie. The Leaf Links golf course also resembles the one from Scarface, even copying that fragmented island layout. The Malibu Club feels like Rockstar's version of the Babylon Club, carrying that same flashy pink and blue vibe filled with statues and neon. Then there's the Vassetti estate itself. Tommy's mansion looks almost identical to Tony Montana's house, and even the final mission, Keep Your Friends Close, mirrors Scarface's chaotic mansion shootout ending. The office room with your recruitable gang members is almost a straight copy of Frank Lopez's office, complete with the palm tree backdrop. Even small details got attention. The giant blimp flying around Vice City references the famous "the world is yours" moment. Tommy's failed drug deal at the beginning mirrors Tony Montana's disaster, and Rockstar even copied an actual monitor texture from the film into the bank security room. Vice City literally changed the gaming industry, and countless games tried to capture that same magic afterward. But one of the most unexpected tributes came from a game almost nobody talks about, called Ocean City Racing. Back in 2014, a solo Turkish developer named Onya Usa built an entire open-world racing game by himself using Unreal Engine 3. The city had huge districts connected by bridges and tunnels, and unlike most racing games, you weren't locked inside your car. You could get out and freely walk around the city as well. The interesting part is that Onya openly admitted that Vice City was his biggest inspiration, and Rockstar fans got a hidden surprise because if you explored enough, you could find an ambulance with a character lying on a stretcher who looked almost identical to Tommy Vassetti, wearing the iconic blue Hawaiian shirt. Walk close enough and the game tells you, "Congratulations, you have found an Easter egg." The mission, The Meat Business, gives us one of the saddest GTA crossovers ever, because it shows what happened to Ken Rosenberg after the glory days of Vice City. By 1992, Ken is in Las Venturas trying to manage 3 mafia families while dealing with a brutal cocaine addiction and constant paranoia. During a huge shootout, his mind drifts back to 1986 Vice City, and he suddenly yells,
"This is so exciting, Tommy, it's like old times!"
CJ has no idea what he's talking about, and responds with the legendary line,
Who the fuck is Tommy?
Ken never really moved on. Tommy eventually cut him off completely because Ken's addiction had become a liability. After rehab, Ken desperately tried contacting Tommy again, but Tommy ignored every call. The guy who once stood beside the king of Vice City ended up becoming just another forgotten memory. Vice City has some of my favourite movie references. The Mission publicity tour, where Tommy is desperately driving a limousine, while Love Fist tries to defuse a bomb in the back, is basically Rockstar's version of Speed. In the movie, Officer Jack Traven has to keep a bus above 50 miles per hour, or it explodes. Rockstar just replaced the bus with a chaotic rock band and somehow made it even more insane. Then, The Job seems to take inspiration from Heat, especially during the huge shootout where crew members start dropping one by one. And in Hogtied, Mitch Baker providing security for Love Fist is a nod to the real-life Hells Angels protecting the Rolling Stones at the infamous Altamont concert. Gant Bridge in San Andreas has one of the funniest Easter eggs in the game. In GTA 3, players broke out of the map and found the famous sign saying, "You weren't supposed to be able to get here, you know." San Andreas brought that joke back in a classic Rockstar way. If you fly a jetpack to the top of Gant Bridge, you'll find a tiny hidden sign saying, "There are no Easter eggs up here, go away." Which is funny because the sign itself becomes the Easter egg. Near the bridge, there's also an information board listing random facts, but right at the end they completely break immersion by saying the bridge takes up a staggering 1.27 megabytes of disk. Remember the good old days when even the smallest of tricks in games mattered, and the devs cared enough to put such tricks in the game, and one of these is a favourite of mine, Moon Trick. If you wait until nighttime, pull out a sniper rifle, zoom directly at the moon and shoot it, the moon suddenly changes size. Shoot it again and it gets even bigger. Keep doing it and it cycles through multiple stages until you end up with a giant moon hanging over San Andreas. One more shot resets it back to normal. But it was never meant to be some mysterious secret. Rockstar originally used it as a dev shortcut to test different moon sizes and lighting effects. So instead of removing it later, they thought it was hilarious, and just left it in the final game for players to randomly discover. Rockstar loved adding little callbacks into their games, and Zero's RC shop hides one that a lot of players completely missed. If you walk inside and look behind the shopkeeper, you can spot a bunch of action figures sitting on display. Rockstar hid miniature versions of characters from their older games. You can find figures of Tommy Vercetti and Lance Vance from Vice City, along with James Earl Cash and Pigsy from Manhunt. If you visit one of Los Santos' graveyards at night between 8 and 6, you can find a strange glowing message appearing on a wall near the large brick building. The weird part is that it's completely invisible during the day, but once night hits, the wall suddenly lights up with eerie green text saying, "Families for life." Considering Grove Street families are all about loyalty and brotherhood, seeing that message appear inside a graveyard, I feel like it's not normal graffiti. Catalina was already one of the most unhinged characters in GTA San Andreas, but Rockstar hid a detail near her house that made her even more terrifying compared to GTA 3. While CJ and Catalina are together, she talks about having previous boyfriends, but the way she says it never exactly sounds reassuring. If you visit her little shack out in the countryside and look beside the entrance, you'll notice something really suspicious. 3 unmarked graves sitting right next to the house with a shovel planted beside them. Rockstar never explains them and never directly confirms anything, but considering Catalina's personality and history of solving problems with violence, players immediately started putting the pieces together. Rockstar was definitely feeling confident after GTA San Andreas launched. In the cemetery near San Fierro, near the hippie shopper, you can find a row of gravestones with a pretty brutal message carved into them. RIP Opposition, 1997 to 2004. That little detail was Rockstar taking a shot at every competitor out there, especially open world games. The first GTA was released in 1997, while San Andreas dropped in 2004, meaning Rockstar was joking that 7 years later, they had already buried the competition. And considering how massive San Andreas became at the time, they clearly believed they had officially taken over the open world crown. And, I mean, what can you say? They were right. They changed the industry. Remember Lance Vance, the guy who started out as Tommy's closest partner, before eventually becoming one of the biggest traitors in Vice City? Throughout the story, Lance constantly felt overshadowed and wanted more respect, more power, and a bigger spotlight. That obsession pushed him to betray Tommy near the end of the game. But did you know he had a cameo in San Andreas? If you head over to Richmond and Los Santos, you can spot a billboard featuring Lance. Rockstar never really explains why it's there, but considering Vice City takes place in the flashy 1980s world of celebrities and excess, some players believe it was a subtle nod to Lance chasing fame and attention, even outside the events of Vice City. Rockstar really loved connecting their games together, and James L. Cash gets a pretty interesting cameo in GTA San Andreas. If you visit the Las Venturas Police Department and check on one of the investigation rooms, you can find a suspect board filled with mugshots, newspaper clippings, and criminal evidence. Hidden among all of it is a picture of James L. Cash himself. For anyone who never played Manhunt, Cash was Rockstar's most dangerous protagonist at the time, a death row inmate forced into a brutal world of survival and violence. If you head over to Dillamore in Red County and look closely at the gas station store window, you can spot a small sign saying Max Payne. It just looks like a random store label, but it's a clever little play on Max Payne. Instead of Payne, P-A-Y-N-E, Rockstar swapped it with Pane, as in window pane. It's one of those classic Rockstar jokes that lasts for about 2 seconds but somehow sticks with you. The funny part is that Rockstar would later end up developing Max Payne 3 itself. Rockstar kept hiding random references in the strangest places, and GTA 4 has one of my favourites. If you visit the graveyard behind Meadows Park Church, you can find a strange tomb with the inscription, Roll of Honour, War of the Deadline, 1869 to 1869. For those about to build, we salute you. That last line is a clever nod to AC/DC and their album, For those about to rock, we salute you. Of course, Rockstar twisted it into a construction joke by changing rock into build. Even graveyards are apparently not safe from Rockstar's sense of humour. There's even an interesting Easter egg in Mr. Tasty Ice Cream Truck. If you hop into one and keep cycling through the jingles, eventually you'll hear a weird chiptune version of Soviet Connection, GTA 4's iconic theme song. That's where the secret begins. If you call ZIT while the song is playing, the game sends you a message saying, ZIT, spotted GTA 4 theme. Then you get the message, cheat activated. It secretly unlocks a hidden cheat that instantly restores Nico's health and armor while repairing the truck itself. Rockstar literally turned an ice cream song into a cheat code, which is one of the reasons why I love Rockstar so much. Who else does stuff like that? The Statue of Happiness is probably the funniest part of the game. A lot of players noticed that the statue's face looks strangely similar to Hillary Clinton, and combined with the giant coffee cup replacing the torch, many connected it to the infamous hot coffee controversy that surrounded Rockstar back then. Near one of the doors, Rockstar puts a sign saying, "No hidden content this way." It's just Rockstar continuing their tradition of trolling curious players like the GTA 3 hidden sign and San Andreas' Gantt Bridge message. The funny part is that the sign is lying to you. Walk through it and climb up inside, and hidden in total darkness is the gigantic heart of Liberty City, a huge, beating human heart chained to the statue's interior walls. You can shoot it all you want, but it just keeps beating as if nothing happened. If you walk through apartment staircases around the city, you can sometimes spot graffiti mentioning old 3D universe protagonists like Claude, Tommy Vercetti, Cole Johnson, Tony and Vic. What made players freak out was that the graffiti was something they didn't expect, but Rockstar later explained that it was mostly a joke and a symbolic goodbye to the old era rather than confirming their deaths. The only protagonist whose death we see on screen is Victor Vance. At one point during the game, Nico can receive an email from someone called Chiliad8888. The message calls you pilgrim, starts throwing around strange spiritual ideas and anti-government theories, and ends with "feel the truth, live the freedom." For old-school GTA players, that wording immediately sounds familiar. The biggest clue is the name itself, Chiliad, which is the same as Mount Chiliad. Then things get even more suspicious, because the linked conspiracy posts talked about peyote, hidden knowledge, and weird philosophical ramblings. Fans connected the dots and started believing this was the truth still out there somewhere. If you want to see references to older characters from GTA, you can spot a street artist's easel with several drawings on display. The pictures are concept art of characters from previous GTA games, such as the coloured profile sketch of the woman with reddish hair on the bottom row mirrors early artistic direction for key female narrative figures. There's also the Russian mob boss from Hove Beach depicted in an early design profile draft. The game's main protagonist, Niko Bellic, also appears in a few structural head and shoulder sketches. GTA 5 became the highest selling game on the PS3 and showed everyone what that generation was capable of. But for a game that huge, controversy was almost guaranteed from the start. And one of the wildest controversies involved actress Lindsay Lohan. Back in 2014, she filed a lawsuit against GTA 5. She claimed that Rockstar had used her appearance and image without permission. She was talking about the character named Lacey Jonas, the actress Trevor and Franklin helped escape from paparazzi. The actress argued the character copied parts of her real-life image and public struggles. The lawsuit also pulled in GTA 5's iconic bikini loading screen girl, with claims that it resembled one of her old photos. Rockstar argued that these were simply fictional satirical characters and generic celebrity archetypes. After years of legal drama, the court sided with Rockstar in 2018. Lohan lost the case, but the lawsuit still became important because it raised bigger questions about how closely games can imitate real people. We all love Sean Fontano, but what if I told you he was never even supposed to be Franklin's voice? He originally walked in just to help with talent scouting and some background motion capture work. But the second Rockstar saw his personality, heard his voice, and noticed how naturally he fit Franklin's world, they immediately saw something bigger. During development, Rockstar hid everything under the fake codename Project Paradise, and Franklin himself was temporarily called Deshawn. So Fontano spent over a year working without even knowing he was one of GTA 5's main protagonists. And for those of you who don't know, he's the real-life cousin of young Melee, the voice of CJ. Franklin and CJ were literally connected by family long before players ever realized it. The Humane Labs and Research is one of the weirdest places hidden on the GTA 5 map. It's in an isolated area far away from the city. The place already feels suspicious before you even step inside. During normal gameplay, getting too close instantly gives you a 4-star wanted level. Players eventually discovered some sneaky tricks that let them break inside and explore areas never meant for free roaming. Once you get in though, the place feels almost abandoned. Then you're welcomed by huge empty halls and long corridors that make the whole place feel oddly unsettling. There's also another strange detail nearby. If you head into the ocean east of the lab, you can find a tank underwater for no obvious reason at all. Around 7 PM near Raton Canyon, one of GTA 5's coolest hidden events can randomly play out. A group of police cars suddenly appear, chasing a declassed tornado toward the edge of a cliff. Then, just like that, the car drives straight off the edge. If that sounds familiar, it's because this is a direct recreation of the ending of Thelma and Louise. In the movie, the two main characters are surrounded by police at the Grand Canyon and choose one final drive instead of surrendering. Rockstar recreated this scene almost shot for shot inside GTA 5. If you explored Mount Chiliad long enough back in the original GTA 5, you could find something really weird painted on one of the mountain walls. A creepy, smiling face staring back at you. Because it was right on Chiliad, players started connecting it to the Mount Chiliad mystery, and thought it was some hidden clue leading towards UFOs or another secret. A lot of players believed a developer had secretly sneaked his own face into the game as a random little Easter egg. And honestly, the Enhanced Edition pretty much confirms it. Rockstar removed the face and replaced it with a rather questionable rooster drawing. But what's not questionable is 10 things GTA 4 did better than GTA 5. Click on the video, I'll see you there.